Alright, all you Streetlight Crusaders, and I guess a couple of you wrestling fans out there tonight, welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And now it's time for us to talk about what happened during this week's edition of Monday Night Raw from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. And according to the Maestro, yeah, his assumption was right. There was a crowd in attendance for the show. Nice! And to go further into that, folks, this week's edition of Monday Night Raw would kick off with none other than a giant oversized, what a lot of people are calling online, and I have to agree with it too, a giant oversized hockey wall surrounding the entirety of the ring by the barricade with a whole bunch of NXT hopefuls, including Dio Madden and even Stokey Hathaway. I keep forgetting what his NXT name is, but I do know he was the former manager of Moose. He was in the crowd in attendance, and I'm pretty sure Shotzi Blackheart was also in the crowd as well, along with one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA who was running buddies with none other than Shayna Baszler, also in attendance tonight in the crowd. Nice! But the night would start off not only with a giant oversized hockey thing that's around the ring, but also the KO show with none other than guest Asuka, the women's champion of Monday Night Raw. And before she could say anything about her best friend getting attacked, none other than the Queen, Charlotte Flair, would make her way to the ring and ridicule her on her title reign, saying that that belt shouldn't have been handed to you, it should have been handed to me, and would then say that everywhere we go, no matter what happens, I always beat you, you've never beat me. And before she could even say anything else, Natalya would come out, causing KO to just remove his set and get it out of the way of a temper tantrum that he thought was gonna take place on Monday Night Raw once again. But instead, Natalya would come out and apologize for her action she did last week, only for her to get chopped down once again by Charlotte Flair. Then things would get really bad once Nia Jax would hit the scene, causing KO to go to the outside of the ring and say, I know what's gonna happen next. You removed your jacket and you look like you're in a fighting mood, especially after what Nia Jax said about Kairi Sane and saying that it's a fraction of what she's gonna do to her at Backlash, and then would say that she's gonna bulldoze to her at Backlash along with Natalya and Charlotte, who's gonna be in a triple threat match with her later on the night. And Asuka, who did not listen to KO's instructions to not hit Nia in the face, would do a spinning back fist to the face of Nia Jax, causing her to crumble to the ground. And just before she was gonna do another hip attack like she did last week, Nia would roll out of the ring along with Charlotte and Natalya getting it on the other side of the ring, beating the daylights out of each other, and for Asuka to be the only one standing speaking in Japanese in a very angry tone to pretty much end this first part of Raw. And then the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw, and in the first match of the night, in traditional either Memorial Day or Independence Day fashion, Andrade Cien Almas would have to defend the United States Championship against none other than Apollo Crews. And during this match, Apollo looked like he was on a roll until he decided to do an enziguri kick to the back of the head of Andrade Cien Almas, causing him to hit Zelina Vega, and then for Andrade to go to the outside of the ring to check on Zelina, only for Apollo Crews to go to the outside of the ring to prevent the count-out victory, for El Idolo to take advantage of the situation, knock him off the apron, and then try to go after the leg of one Apollo Crews, which would take away a majority of the power of him during this match, but not enough to stop him from doing what he was gonna do next, because after the double knees in the corner and a 2 count fall, Apollo Crews would come back into this match with a gorilla press slam that would lead directly into a moonsault standing style, then leading directly into a standing shooting star press for Apollo Crews to capture his first championship for WWE by becoming the new United States champion via pinfall. And after the match was over, would say a lot of people really didn't believe in him. A lot of people thought that after he hurt his leg that he wasn't going to get another opportunity. But he persevered and he made his way to the mountaintop to become the new United States champion. And while he was celebrating inside the ring and Charlie Caruso was getting, I guess, a weird conversation from Rico Suave himself, Angel Garza in the back, Andrade Cien Almas would be tearing apart the backstage area, breaking pipes, throwing crates, and just very upset about the fact that he lost his United States Championship after holding it for well over 155 days. Wow, I didn't even know it's been that long since he beat Rey Mysterio in the Garden, but hey, that's the exact amount of time it's been since he did that. And speaking of Rey Mysterio, folks, next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw would see none other than the Monday Night Messiah explaining why in the world he has to thank Rey Mysterio for what happened, because he had to be sacrificed in his darkest hour for the Monday Night Messiah to truly become his full potential. And then would hear about Murphy and about Austin Theory getting tossed to the wayside by the WWE Universe, only for Murphy and for Austin Theory to thank the Monday Night Messiah for taking them under his wing and giving him their tutelage as he makes his way to make Monday Night Raw a better place. And still holding on to that Rey Mysterio mask, reminding me of Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio back when Eddie Guerrero went heel, when he had that cool version of Lie, Cheat, and Steal and was brain-bustering people on their skulls for the longest amount of time. Truly a cool time for Eddie Guerrero in heel form. But besides Eddie Guerrero's heel-like moments, folks, the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw would see the Iconics hitting the ring and talking about the fact that they deserve to be the women's tag team champions due to the fact that they never had a fair shake to defend it, even though they defended it in a fatal four-way match, elimination style, and lost immediately in protest that they didn't lose the belts, and would say that the team of Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss are undeserving of those belts. Only for Nikki Cross to get out there along with Alexa Bliss to talk about the fact that they deserve those championships, only to get hushed by the Iconics by them telling her to stand there and be grateful. And then for Alexa Bliss, or should I say Nikki Cross, to say, you two may have had each other, but I had nothing. I left Glass Cow with nothing by myself and scratched and clawed and made my way here to WWE, only to get a friend in the form of Alexa Bliss for her to keep my insanity in check for us to become tag team champions. And just after she would say all of that in a more passionate speech than I could describe here on the air, folks, next thing you know, the Iconics would take offense to that and beat the living daylights flag tag out of both Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, not only kicking Nikki Cross in the face, but also hitting Alexa Bliss with that modified version of the Magic Killer to take out the tag team champions of the women's division and celebrate with those belts like if it was theirs, which is not. And if they do get a title shot, chances are it's going to be somewhere around Backlash, because I don't see anybody else challenging for those belts. Unless they get a team from NXT, which I hope, but I highly doubt. And the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw would see none other than another episode of the VIP Lounge, with MVP talking to none other than the current, or what he's gonna say, future former WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. Now, prior to the VIP lounge, and thank you, Maestro, for reminding me that we forgot about this, apparently Lana would try to talk to MVP about the current situation between him and Lashley, and him now managing Lashley with Lana on the outside looking in, for Lana to say, we need to talk, for MVP to say, no we don't, and for Lana, with, I guess, a little bit too much makeup than most, to get angry about the whole situation, for the VIP lounge to take place, where Drew McIntyre would tear apart the VIP lounge, wondering where in the world Lashley was, because he knew this was going to be some form of trap, only for MVP to, ease his worries by telling him, no, this isn't a trap. This is just me sending you down memory lane, reminding him the last time he had him on the VIP lounge, where he would try to convince him to release his true potential by joining him, only for him to get kicked in the face with a claymore, and for Drew McIntyre to say two things after that moment. Man, that guy's gonna be WWE champion, and he can't wait to be the man to be a part of the fact that he loses that championship. Only for Drew McIntyre to respond back by telling him, do you remember what I told you that night? And would say, oh no, refresh my memory. And Drew McIntyre will refresh this memory back to when the whole thing with Paul Heyman saying he doesn't need somebody to think for him, he doesn't need somebody to talk for him, and he especially doesn't need anybody kissing his ass, especially now that he's WWE champion, only for MVP to take offense to that, and would also say, alongside with all what he said, that he is gonna have to take away that championship from his cold, dead hands. Only for MVP to rebuttal by saying, oh well, that could be arranged. For Bobby Lashley's music to hit, for him to make his way to the ring, and Drew McIntyre, knowing that this was a trap, after MVP would say, here comes the future WWE champion, Bobby Lashley, he would get hit in the face with a Claymore kick. And after MVP would get hit with that Claymore kick, Drew McIntyre would egg on Bobby Lashley to get into the ring to say, come on, get in this ring, fight me. I want to see the true Bobby Lashley that was held back for 13 years. Only for them to head into the back, run into Lana, for Lana to have one of those I told you so faces with a bag of ice for MVP, only for MVP to just rebuttal what he said last week to Lana, that Lashley needs to focus since this is his first time getting a WWE Championship match in 13 years, so we're gonna go strategize about it, only for Lana to break the bag of ice and scream in fury once again, just like she did last week. And on the next episode of As the World Turns, folks, I have a feeling that Lashley is gonna get cost the championship due to Lana interfering during the match. I got a feeling that's where this is all leading. And the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw would see Angel Garza going one-on-one against the Frankenstein monster himself, Kevin Owens. And before this match can even start, and while Kevin Owens was getting introduced to the ring, Angel Garza, more like Rico Suave, would end up doing a knee slide chop block right to Kevin Owens, eliminating most of his offensive moves, including the cannonball and even a swanton that he was still able to hit during the match for a near fall. But unfortunately, after all of that, would not be able to secure the pop-up powerbomb victory during this match, allowing Angel Garza to hit a perfect wing clipper in the center of the ring for Angel Garza and I guess Selena Vega's camp to get a little victory for the night despite losing the United States Championship via pinfall. And to really hammer the point home, folks, after the match was over, Angel Garza would decide to do a super kick to the face of Kevin Owens after the match was over, and would celebrate about it with that, Rico Suave, Maurice Chavez, or not Maurice Chavez, I mean more or less Fernando. Yes, he reminds me a lot of Fernando from Vice City Radio, and would just give a haunting smile after doing so, to really prove that they won at least something for the night. But would that get them the United States Championship back? Absolutely not. And I guess with that said, folks, we might as well head back into the music, and when we return, we'll be back with the second half of what happened during this week's edition of Monday Night Raw from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, with a crowd right after this. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks, and stay tuned.